Welcome to the Wisely Spiritual Podcast with the Bohemian Tarot Girl, Kendall Shahan. Join me on my spiritual quest. Hi, everyone. Today we have Carla on, and we're going to talk about all the weird stuff that's been happening astrologically through basically June of this year and what's coming up with this new moon and solar eclipse. But first, Carla, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure. So I'm Carla. You might know me as Sparkling Carla on Instagram and from my blog, sparklingcarla.com. I pretty much cover lifestyle, but all connected to wellness, spirituality, and empowerment. And I do energetic readings with tarot cards and oracle cards as a way to guide us as a collective, because I do collective energy readings, but I also do one-on-one readings for people.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me and talking about this crazy time, because I know I've had a crazy time and I know you've had a crazy time. So
and that's why we're here.
I know.
Thanks to the planets. Thank you, planets.
I know. Thanks. Hopefully it's going to bring in some great transformation in my life. I'm really hoping so.
Well, that's the energy that I've been picking up too. It's a very heavy things happening that might not seem so great, but it's actually for your highest good. So even though it sucks, it's time to get excited because awesome things are happening.
I agree. You know, we have that new moon coming in, and that's on the 14th, and it's in Sagittarius, I believe.
Yeah.
And with that, we're having that solar eclipse. And that really, if you think about it, all this eclipse energy that we've been having are all portals for us to change. And we really started back in June with that other solar eclipse that we had. And so what sort of things have been happening in your life?
Oh my God. Well, a lot of changes, I know one of the big changes that I was really impressed because I'm very on top of all the planetary, aspects and changes and shifts and whatever. But sometimes I get to understanding the energy a little bit later. And
yeah, you're like, oh.
So this big thing happened. And a couple of days later, I started reading all the planetary shifts and whatever that were happening, but a little bit late. I'm like, oh my God. It's like they're talking about my life happening through the planets without having to say. So I had it was so abrupt. So the full moon, the Halloween weekend, that was a full moon in Taurus, was it?
I think so, yeah. I could look in my notes.
Yeah, I actually, one of my resources that I like to read a lot of all these transits is Moon Omens.
Yeah.
So I love their blog post on every single transit and shift and whatever. So that's the one I was reading, and I believe it was in Taurus, and I think there was a conjunction with, let's see, I think it was Uranus at that time that made everything even crazier.
I think you're right.
And I'm actually, yes, full moon in Taurus conjunct retrograde Uranus. Retrograde. Yep. Yes, I had to look it up in my So when I read that description, it's all about like this transformation that is coming through sudden things, like something happened abruptly, like you did not see it coming. It just kind of like poof. So that weekend is when I really started seeing the impact because, it was a big shift. So I broke up with my 5-year boyfriend.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that.
I know it, it's part of life. It's part of relationships and it happens. And after I read that, I was like, oh, well, I mean, I didn't stand a chance. But it was really interesting because then again, that situation, even though I can pinpoint it back, and it's interesting that you also mentioned that, what was it? Was it the new moon in June?
The solar eclipse happened. I think it was. That was the big thing in June for me, was that portal that started with the solar eclipse. And that was on the summer solstice. And that's when we had a solar eclipse. And you had the sun entering, I think it was, but it happened on the 20th. And that was and it was a new moon in Cancer. It was a new moon in Cancer.
Okay.
So that was like a whole time to start something new.
Yeah.
And really, like, that was your go button. And it's interesting, as we come into this new moon with the next solar eclipse, that it's really not a great day. Like, you should not be starting anything on that day. So it's almost like an ending to that cycle, is what I kind of look at it as.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
I did not know that. But yeah, definitely that new moon. Again, new moons are all about beginnings and planting seeds. And even though, for example, this fast forward to October, to this full moon, I was telling you before we went on that I could see how the breakup started happening back in June.
Yeah.
You know, I can see the shift in the relationship that made this happen. But then again, it was so random. Like, literally, we went out, we had an amazing day, and all of a sudden, by the end of the day, we're talking about these topics, and everything just went like boom, and that's it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We went for brunch, we went for drinks. It was like such a nice Sunday. But then it kind of like, it had to happen, you know. There was this energy for real of like, and it just happened. I did not, even though I could see from where it started, I didn't think that was going to happen, and let alone that day, because we were so connected and we were having such a great time. But then again, the energies are there, and the backstory and the back things that happened before are also building up to that. And this could translate into different people in different ways. It's a matter of like, think back to June and what shifts started happening, even if it's not huge. Yeah. For me, I was telling you, I was like, I spent the pandemic in his house. And I was like, I have to spend more time at home. Like, I finally have my own place. I mean, I've been here already like 2.5 years, but 2.5 years, and you come in here, and I haven't dedicated the time to make it a home per se. You know, I put here a couple things here and there, and it's fine. And, you know, building it slowly, but way slowly, because I spend so much time over there. And I'm like, I finally did something that I wanted to do for so long, and I don't want to move out and not even see the full picture, you know? Yeah. I also got the kitten, which I also wanted for the longest time. She actually came to me on the other portal, the Lionsgate portal.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I love it.
Yes. A kitten on the Lions Gate portal. I was like, this is so poetic. Wow, universe.
And what did you name her?
Aura Luna.
Oh,
like aura.
Yeah.
I say it in Spanish. So.
Sorry, my dog sees people.
So yeah, so it's been progressively like little things, little portals, actually, kind of like injecting the shift, and all of a sudden everything is changing. And it's a lot of transformation, and I hear it in a lot of people. A lot of people are breaking up. A lot of people are also moving. A lot of people are shifting careers. A lot of people saying, I'm not going to do this ever again, and I'm going to start this.
Yeah. No, there's been a lot of big changes, and we've had all of those lunar eclipses that were in a row, kind of starting in October and then bringing us through, the November time period here. And for me, something that just there was a transit that happened that actually repeated back to 2018. And for me, it hit in my relationship field. And it was eerie in the fact that I started dating someone. We had a great connection. Very much like a very similar pattern had happened in 2018. And I was like, what am I missing? Like, obviously, I'm supposed to learn something that I have not quite figured out, because here's that pattern repeating again.
Yeah.
And it's just so interesting that how, the planetary energy, plays into this, and it brings these things that we need to learn and experience over and over to us again. And it's our duty, and how we grow to really think about why it's impacting our life and why it's coming forward to us. So it was just crazy. I mean, he was even a Gemini, and they were both Geminis. I was just like, oh, this is not going to end good. And sure enough, no, it was not meant to be. So
it's crazy, especially when you look back, because hindsight 2020, which is,
yeah,
the phrase of the year.
it is.
But I remember when all this exploded, and I'm like, I'm starting to pay attention to all the transits, and I'm like, wow, every single one after that, every single one. I'm like, they're describing everything that's happening to me. The new beginnings also, not only because the planets are doing their thing, right? And we can study the planets and we can read about them and whatever, but that same energy that they're putting out, you can pick it up in different ways. And I pick it up through the cards. So the cards were also telling me what was happening. And then I confirm it after like reading these things after a couple of days. And I remember on my stories on Instagram, I would like post it. I know I'm late. This already happened like last week or 2 weeks ago, but I'm just catching up reading about it. And holy, this is like crazy. And I will like underline. So I put a little bit of hints, because I hadn't like fully talked about the fact that, I went through a breakup. But wow, I'm impressed. Like I believe in this, and all of a sudden this time was like, this is to a T so unreal. Like this, everything, that moon and whatever happened next. I remember, because we've been a lot of like trines and conjunctions and squares, and it's been such a like a puzzle of planets just moving around.
It has, and we've had so many retrogrades too that it just seems like they're all coming together, and it's just like this big blah right for the end of 2020. So I'm like, this is perfect.
How many do we have still in retrograde? Because I know a couple have come out.
And Mars is out.
Oh, I was going to say Mars is out. Okay, yeah. So another thing that happened to me, I was like trying to remember what other things, because I read so many articles. So aside from that moon, I remember also, so I'm an Aries. Mm-hmm. My Mars is in Aries. I also have a general like Mars, Aries stellium, because it's Sun, Mercury and Mars are all in Aries. And then I also have 3 planets in Sagittarius. So a lot of fire, but focusing on the Aries and the Mars in Aries. Mars was retrograde in Aries. And then when it came forward, I read the article a couple late, but whatever, and also describes everything. So I was going through, I was struggling with myself, because I caught myself a lot, which probably didn't help with the full moon and all of this happening, losing my temper so freaking quickly. And when I tell you losing my temper, I don't have to super react about it, but I could feel it in my body. Like my heart would start racing out of freaking nowhere. Like all this, like, I would like turn myself into Godzilla if I could, with little things too. And you know what? I don't consider myself the most patient person on the planet, but this was like a little bit too much than usual. I'm like, but this is what's happening to me, like, do I have pent up things that I need to deal with? What is happening? And then I read that Mars retrograde in Aries was causing a lot of that.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And I'm like, oh my God. And the funny thing is I read it after it went direct, and it was already like 2 weeks. And I I understood that I was feeling better, but I thought I was feeling better, granted, because I was doing the work. I doing my yoga and I'm doing my meditation. I started carrying crystals for anger with me. um what else? Oh, I started like a liver detox pills, not like a detox, but just
Oh,
for to help detox naturally.
I like
Um,
that.
and dandelion tea, because it also helps with that, because I guess I jumped that fact for anyone who doesn't know, you actually carry anger in your liver.
I could see that. Yeah.
So I was like, I think I'm angry. I think I have a lot of like pent up things. And I thought also in that moment, I thought about my relationship, for example, because that time we broke up, there was so much anger pouring out of me that
Mhm.
more than the breakup was the thing that made me go like, okay, we gotta stop. Like,
Yeah.
what's happening? And that was my first cue. So I must have a lot of like pent up things from a lot of years and a lot of things. And I could go back and I know all the little moments, and it's a lot of them, and they're very little, and they already passed, and we talked about them, and they're supposed to be cleared, but they're not. So,
Mhm.
and I think that aspect also with Mars retrograde in Aries, and me being specifically an Aries with a Mars in Aries, I probably felt it more, you
Oh
know.
my gosh, yes. Yeah.
Um, so thank God I'm feeling way better.
Yeah.
Like aligning. Um, and I thought here that I was doing all of this amazing work, but you know, it actually prompts you to do that type of work, to kind of like start thinking, so what are the things? And I started digging deep, and it's like, and there's a lot of things that I'm kind of like disappointed and upset and you know, and frustrated about,
Yeah.
and kind of resentful about is the word that I was looking for. Um, so yeah, so it kind of all these things are pushing you again to make changes and to look within. There's also been a lot of that energy too, of looking within, going within. What do you need to change? What do you need to release? That's the current energy. A lot
Oh
of
my gosh.
releasing. What do you need to say bye bye to? This bye bye.
Yeah. No, I would highly recommend to any of my listeners out there, go back, start in June at least, and look at what is going on in your life during these eclipses. Look at the solar eclipse in June, and then look at the lunar ones through October into November. And then really analyze this. Yesterday, I think it was yesterday, the 7th of December.
Yeah. Yes.
It's called like some people refer to it as like the moon wobble, and it's the direct center between two eclipses. And so it's really like I had posted a card spread on my site that was like, you need to let go. And for those people who didn't burn things in this last full moon, go and release all of that negative energy, because this eclipse coming up, this solar eclipse with this new moon, is really your opportunity like to start afresh. That's how I feel. I feel like we've been through all of this stuff, and here we are, like that is like the trigger day, right? Where it's like the final ending day. And as you move into, the energy of the new moon, so past the new moon day, you start getting Venus the 15th. Let me look. Hold on one sec here. I can't remember off the top of
Is
my
there an
head.
app that follows all of this all at once?
There's a couple of different calendars I like for quick reference.
Because I
I
know
think
there's
it's
like websites, but I want something that you can like, you know, more accessible and easier to go into, I guess. Sorry.
yeah. No, astrology does a calendar, astrology.com. They do a calendar, which is great just for quick reference.
Okay.
And then I use, like, as far as like following transits, I use I think it's Astro Gold. Yeah, it's Astro Gold
Oh, I'll check that out.
on It's an app. There is a cost to join as far as like the app goes. It's great. You can set up some charts in there if you're doing chart readings for people, like natal charts, that sort of thing, or if you're looking for important dates in aspect to the, what's coming in for people. I would highly recommend doing that. You can do it for yourself. I like to do that in conjunction with my card readings. I like to know where people are lying in their charts, because it's such a heavy role in their life that often, you think about people who, they come in and they're not really wanting to disclose, things that are really going on in their life. They're looking for you to kind of dig out what they should be focusing on. And a lot of what they really need to be focusing on is usually in their charts. And you can use that, and then you can kind of dig in deeper with the cards. I always like people to do kind of a combination reading. I just think, I just think the planet energy is so important in our lives. And I used to pay attention to really just the moon's energy, right? And on a simple level, that's great. But then when you start adding in all these like planetary energies, it's just crazy. It's just really
cool. Yeah, especially when they impact your life the way they do.
Yeah.
And your mood. Like, we're talking not only this event happening, but my whole like energy was off.
Yeah.
Again, it did prompt me to do the work, right? Because again, that's why they're happening. They're happening for you to like, there's this nudge for you to go and do something about it.
Exactly.
Which I'm grateful for, but damn. Yeah. It was a lot.
It was a lot. And so for the people out there, figure out what you need to do to release what you need to release, and learn the lessons that you need to do, even if it's just start the work. And I know you have developed a planner. I'm super excited about getting mine. And can you tell us a little bit about like what you have in your planner? I highly encourage people to journal. And I think that's the key to actually paying attention to everything that's going on in your life and the cycles that repeat. Because if you're not paying attention and you're not writing down those things, you're missing them.
Yeah, you're missing the pieces. It's funny. I spent so much time journaling this weekend. A lot of things came up too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm also a big fan of journaling. So this is the planner, or a very similar version, because I actually did a little tweak before sending the final draft. So it's called a Sparkling Life Planner, and pretty much you follow the seasons, but mostly the wheel of the year. So not only just spring, summer, fall, winter, but the in between holidays. Like Imbolc would be one. I think Lamas would be another one. They're in between. And then you follow the moon cycle. So you follow the new moon and the full moon each month. And there's a general energy for the month in the first part. So I'm like, I keep saying, whatever, January, I'll show January.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'll keep the rest surprise for when. Obviously, there's a whole beginning part too for reflections on 2020 and setting intentions for 2021. And I talk about the energy of 2021, so to see what you could expect. So for example, this is January, and each month has a theme. So can you see this is like Radiant January, and what's the, okay, here. Opposite. And here's a description of the energy of the month. I have a ritual here, like connected to that same theme and energy of the month, and also a crystal, so you can add it to your ritual or to your meditations that month, or carry it with you, or however you want to work with it. That's one of the big things of this planner. I want people to vibe with it however they want to. We all connect to ourselves and to the energies all around us in different ways. So you might just want to reflect each morning or each night, Maybe you draw tarot cards. Maybe you draw oracle cards. Maybe you just want to go deep into your dream world. I had a lot of journaling that came through messages from my dreams this weekend. You know, we all connect differently. But I do follow the astrological influences. You can like see them here at the beginning of each month. There's not a lot of information on that, but you kind of have a heads up of what's happening, and then go like, okay, well, this day something is happening. Let me check that out.
Pay attention.
Yes, it's kind of like, okay, it's there, so I'm already telling you. And there's like two questions. Is this how like telling the weather on TV feels like?
Yeah.
So yeah, so you got like two questions to prep you for the ritual. You have to like read them. Every month is different. Sometimes I give you questions to prep you for it. Sometimes I give you questions to reflect after it, and sometimes you have like one-on-one. So basically that's the energy each month, and then you got the actual planner, and that's why each day you can use it for whatever. Like you can write down whatever comes through at the end of the day, at the beginning, through oracle cards, tarot cards, dreams, however you want to put it. You want to use it to put your to-do list. Put your to-do list, because at the end of the day, this planner is carrying you through the energy of the year for you to be aware of what's happening, and you can use it in your advantage and in your growth and in developing your dreams and manifesting what you want to create for 2021.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it. And then you got like little areas for notes. They're very random. They're not really, they're just there. They appear sometimes smaller, sometimes bigger. But I always think, you know, when you have thoughts, ideas, you want to like write some more, it's good to have. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
It looks beautiful, and I'm super excited to get mine. So
I'm very excited to just like kick in the year and start using it with everyone too. I feel like I'm trying to see if I develop moments where we can all be a community that has the planner. Because again, I didn't make, hopefully I'll sell them all and I'll do another print out. That's ideally, but if not, it's going to be, you know, a small community of people having the planner. It'll be amazing to connect, you know, and create maybe rituals together or talk about our months together, whatever that is. I'm still in, you know, in the brainstorming phase, but it'd be great to not only have the planner for everyone, but also to connect through the planner.
Yep. I like that. So as you also mentioned, okay, we talked about, you know, repeating cycles, and you also mentioned an app earlier when I was talking to you that you use. Can you highlight that for us really quick?
Yes. So hashtag non-sponsored. So the app is called The Pattern. And I love that you were mentioning, oh, I saw this pattern that happened last year. And then it's actually telling you your own personal patterns in your personality. It's actually based on your birth chart, but they don't talk about it. There's no trace of planets and astrology aside from when they do collective readings of the new moon or full moons. They kind of mention that like that, but it's not even maybe Mercury retrograde. They do mention those words, but it's very mild. It's all very straightforward to who you are. And you know what? I'm going to like geek out and show you.
Yes, I love it. And for all the podcast listeners out there, find this on YouTube. It's at my YouTube channel, and I'll probably give it to Carla here and she'll post it on hers. So it'll be on the Bohemian Tarot Girls YouTube channel. Check it out so you can see my dog, Echo. You can see the planner. You can see us geeking out and being nerds. So.
Yes. Okay. So for example, this is my profile, and you can see these are my patterns. So I'm like complex and analytical, sensitive and adaptable. So they tell you, and you can go in, you can like just read for ages about yourself. They also do like little tidbits of different areas every morning. So that's what I read. It's easier to kind of digest.
I like it.
But once you get the app, you probably could spend a whole day like just like, oh my God. So then they have your timings. So yesterday, which comes back to all this, oh my God. Can we rewind? Because Okay, so new beginnings, energy transformation, and whatever. So what happens? I did an energetic reading on Friday for the collective,
Mm-hmm.
and the energy was a lot about releasing and healing and standing in your truth. And then the shadow message, which I felt was the universe kind of like nudging, and what department specifically this weekend we're talking about this, was about relationships. And when I specifically say the word relationships, I always remind people the first thing we think about is our partner, our significant other. But relationships are also your friends, are also your family, any one-to-one person, co-workers, business partners. But this one was very specific about significant others, about partners, because it brought the energy of your sexuality being involved in it, and how maybe you've lost power throughout the years or throughout your most recent relationships or past relationships, whatever. We all have different. So that energy came through, and obviously, you know, I'm going through a breakup, I'm doing my healing work, and I'm doing all these things. I'm like, you know what? It definitely resonates. I'm gonna make some time this weekend to kind of like work on that, however I feel like. So I don't have to do anything because I go to sleep and I have this dream and I wake up already very angry with not only it wasn't even about my ex. It became like a list of people that I'm like, all these patterns, and I saw a pattern that repeats itself in my relationships, not only with men but with friends, and not just general friends, but those friends that become kind of like we're a we, and people joke that, are you guys getting married? When is the wedding? You know, those friends, I also have the same patterns that I have with men. And I saw it. Yes. And I saw it. I woke up and I saw it clearly. All the way to high school, all the way to one of the first like friends in when you're developing, I guess, because I'm not an adult in high school, but yeah, you think you are. I thought I was the shuts, but but let's be real, you're a baby, and so I started journaling about it. I wrote down the dream and everything that came through, and I had this understanding of, because this is the thing, the other part of studying the patterns, it's not about like, oh, this people do this to me a lot. Okay, so what is your pattern? And this is something that also started coming back to me a lot, of like, it's not about other people, it's about me, you know. And I realized that happens to me because I have this energy that attracts them into my life, and once I let people in, I start sacrificing little pieces of me. And then there's this energy of like either taking advantage or I'm like, okay, whatever, at the end. And a lot of people just literally disappear. I had one boyfriend that literally never came back to see me. A boyfriend, you know, not a guy I went out with. But then when you start understanding that, all those moments are easier also to digest. Then it's just like, also it's our energy interacting that way. Whatever. I think I'm going too deep into the learning process of this, but that happens. I have this energy with the dream. I had an energetic session that same day, and literally my guides were telling me, confirming a lot of what I was writing on my journal before the session, and they asked me to write a love letter to myself. And I'm like, oh, beautiful, yeah. So Sunday, it vibed in a beautiful way. And again, I'm sharing all of this because it's that same energy of like, it's right in front of you, what's happening. And it's connected, one thing after the other, after the other. And I flowed and I wrote my letter and I took a bath for the first time. I don't remember how long. I don't remember the last time I had a Sunday like that it was all about me. And I was like, I took a nap. And it was just fabulous. I ate cake.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was amazing, right? And I wrote that letter. And when I read it, it's so powerful. I'm starting to read it every night and every morning because I realized I've never written a love letter like that to anyone in my life, and I've never received that. And it became that energy that I've also been learning throughout all these shifts, that you are your love, you are your home. And this is not to discredit the fact of significant others and well, I want to get married, but that's not it. It's the fact that, especially in my own journey, I have to understand that I also matter, you know, that I can't lose little pieces of me because of other people's ways of living or thinking or wanting, or the things they expect from me, and me being like, okay, well, I'll do that for them because I want to make them happy. So Monday, I start my day with drawing a card, and the card said, it was the new moon, is the Moonology deck, and it was the new moon in Libra, which said, a new romantic cycle begins.
Ooh,
and then I go to the pattern, and this is full circle. I go to the pattern, and the pattern said, oh, remember, you have one more day of relationship transformation timing. Which, by the way, wasn't in one day, because I thought that would end today. That same night, yesterday, they sent me the congratulations. Your relationship transformation, probably with a lot of like, probably. Okay. Well. Probably I broke up with my 5-year boyfriend, the pattern. So where's my bottle of champagne? But point being is that you see how all the little clues are there from different sources, from yourself. Like, it comes, the instinct is there. The rest is just the universe talking to you. And then this morning, and this is another app I love, it's Sanctuary World. This is more for a horoscope. So they say, even if you can't start over with people, you can start a new chapter. Today marks a positive shift for your long-term relationships. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Perfect.
Like, back to back since Friday. The energies are real.
So you're ready, and you're starting to make your changes now. I love that.
Yes.
And you definitely did the work. And I feel like, boom, it all clicked very recently. And, you know, I think it's important. You mentioned a great point, was that we are so focused, and we all do this. We're so focused that, oh, here's, you know, our friend doing this. Here's a man doing this. And we see these patterns of these people in our lives, but really it's us and how we're engaging and putting out our energy that's attracting this pattern. And so really the change is us. It's not the other people. It's in ourselves.
Yeah. And you know what? I think at some point I had that realization, but when we do, we usually go into the pity party type of realization. Like, oh, well, I'm the common denominator, so what's wrong with me? It's like, nothing is wrong with you. And that's the beauty of it, that nothing is wrong with you. However, there's some sort of behavior, or because I don't think that me giving, you know, it is bad, right? But I don't think it's a bad behavior of trying to make people you love happy, of trying to create compromises, you know. But when you see that it affects you at the long run, and you see the pattern over and over again, that's when you say, like, okay, well, the next person, I'll have to have a disclaimer. Hey, bro, I might be really resistant to do things that don't align absolutely at all with me. So you better know this now, because it's not going to happen. You know, I did it way too many times, and I'll tell you what's going to happen if I do it, you know? So,
oh my gosh. Yeah. So you've empowered yourself, and you now know that you're not going to bend, which I like.
You're here for this, and this is what stays.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Well, just once again, listeners, remember, we're coming up on the full moon, or not full moon, the new moon. Sorry, everyone. New moon first with a solar eclipse. And just remember to look at your patterns and make sure that you've released everything that you need to release, so you're ready to start fresh. I would say the day after the new moon. Like, you can get everything prepped, but don't start doing work until the day after. the day after, actually, Venus. So Venus enters Sagittarius and Chiron goes direct all the next day after the new moon. And so the new moon is really you wrapping a whole bunch of crap up, and that is like your chance. Get it wrapped up. Then you can come in with Venus and you have love and finances kind of as the focus, and it's giving you like green lights. So, and then Chiron's direct. So great.
The new moon is when the 14th, right? Of December. The new moon is the 14th, right?
Yeah, new moon's on the 14th. So it's really funny that, you know, that day, it's kind of not, like I said, it's not, when you look at it, it's not a good day to start things, which is odd maybe for a new moon, like from a moon standpoint, right? Because you think about new moon is usually that energy where you know, set new intentions and you get things started. And really it's kind of saying like, make sure everything's wrapped up in your life, and then you can start moving in that new direction. And then you have Venus and Chiron just kind of lighting you up the next day. So
that's awesome. Good to know, because I actually have something launching around that time.
Ooh. So make sure it's on the 15th.
Yes.
Go look and make sure Venus is a go, and look at your time when that goes. And so make sure you don't do any kind of announcement or anything like that until Venus.
Thank you for the
Venus and Chiron.
Which also reminds me that the planner on the 13th, before the new moon, it's the pre-sale ends.
Okay.
So, and just throwing it out there too, the pre-sale gets you free shipping, a free tarot card reading sent to your email, and then the PDF of the 2020 reflections, so you can start working it.
Nice.
So awesome. Yeah, that reminded me of that, and that reminded me of the other launch, and I'm like, okay, well, I gotta show some things around.
Yeah, make sure you have it all in a line. You always gotta check that.
Thank you for the tip. Oh my God.
Well, thank you so much, Carla, for joining us. Can you give a shout out to our listeners and let them know everything that you have going on and how to get connected with you?
Yes. Okay. So everyone, if you want to find me, the best place to find me is Instagram at Sparkling Carla. I'm usually there on Mondays and Fridays for energetic readings, one for the week ahead and the other one for the weekend ahead. Usually around 6 o'clock, but stay tuned on my stories. They shift around. I'm very spontaneous with that. I'm like, okay, well, this day, but usually around 6. I currently have a show called Sparkling Chats After Dark happening every 2 weeks on Wednesdays around 9 p.m. And this is Eastern time.
So
I'm in New Jersey. And these are very intimate. I don't even leave the recording afterwards. I want it to be very like close and intimate. We talk about different topics. I started it last week, and we did dreams and dream interpretation and all that jazz. Yeah, and you know, the conversation kind of trickles down into other things, and it was such a great group and such a nice energy that's what prompted me. I put everything down, and I'm like, I just want to keep it for us, and I'm gonna move forward with that. And what else? And just the planner, you can get it on the link in my profile. And that's about it. I'm Sparking Carla.
Well, I'm excited for that planner. For our listeners out there, go and get it. It's beautiful. Check the video out online, and you can kind of see it up close and personal. So
thank you for having me here.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. And sorry about Echo and her little barking. She likes to interrupt things, but she's so cute that I can't do anything about it.
I know. It's like, well, I know.
Yeah.
They get away with murder.
Yep, pretty much.
They're so cute. Yeah. Stop being cute.
Well, happy new moon, listeners. And make sure you get all your shit in a line before the new moon comes. Let it all go. Follow Carla's example here and get all your boxes checked. So you can start afresh.
Yes. It's almost 2021, people. Next month is 2021. So just get ready.
Totally. Well, thanks so much. And we'll see everybody next time.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.